has, though, the information that the census asks for, how has that changed over the years and, in fact, improved what you're able to do?
Well, Dorothy mentioned the 1790 census, which was a very simple census. Males over 16, males under 16, and females all together, all of us.
One big cattle call.
By the time you got to 1850, you were listing everybody in the household by name. That's the first census that lists everybody by name and age and place of birth. And from then on, they just kept asking more and more questions. By 1880, they wanted to know parents' place of birth. By 1900, they wanted to know month and year of birth, not just your age, which they wanted to know.
Right.
Of course, marital status. They wanted to know if you were a citizen, when you came to this country, if you had, if you yourself had come, were an immigrant person, whether you were naturalized, whether you were married, how long married. I mean, just a lot of questions by 1900, 1910.
Dorothy, isn't, though, I would imagine, though, that there's a further importance here beyond just the sort of interest of going back and seeing what your family really was. I mean, doesn't it, I would, in a sense, that family historians and your family history connects a person to their country, to their life, do you think?
Well, it does indeed, and you find a great difference in rural families and urban families, in what people did, what their educational status was. There's a column there that says we attended school this year or we did not.
Right. Now
that sort of thing.
You did, once you, in using this information you get from the census, you do a chart, which we've taken a picture of, and we're going to put it up on the screen. Tell me what this is, what you've done.
Well, I'm sorry we can't see the whole chart, but it would be much too small. What I did was start with a young couple with a small child in 1850, and then read the census for each 10-year period following that, and you see a family grow and expand and move from one part of the country to another. Sometimes they disappear, as this particular family did, and you then have to go into history and find out what's going on in that part of the country at that time. Genealogy and history just go hand in hand. You know, you can't do one without the other. And you find out some very interesting things as you go along.
Why did you pick this family?
Well, this is just one of many. I find this one interesting because, as I say, they disappeared completely in the 1880s. And when I read the 1900 census, they returned again, one or two of them, showing children in Kansas and Nebraska, and which were other states that the family had never been in before. And
Judith,
so I checked into that.
I understand that that when you looked at your own family, you found some interesting things. What did you find out?
Oh, well, this is one of the genealogical embarrassments that people always talk about, and yet when I've been asked at other times if you were to give one word that describes genealogy, what would it be? And I've often said truth. So I was looking for the truth about my grandfather, and there'd been all kinds of family stories, and things didn't make sense. I really worked very hard on this family, and finally, after wading through some microfilm reels, because I think he'd been missed in the index, it wasn't there, and I just was unable to find his parents, the parents of my grandfather. Now, that's a pretty recent ancestor.
Really?
Yes, his mother was supposed to be Delilah Mundorf. And I had begun to suspect that she really was Delilah Mitchell, and she was not married. And true enough, in the 1850 census, I found her in her natural family with her parents, John Mitchell and Susan Mundorf, and her brothers and sisters that I knew were her brothers and sisters. And there she was, Delilah Mitchell. So, I mean, it was a joyous moment because I found where she really belonged, and I found the truth of that particular situation, you know, which we're always looking for. We want the truth.
Yeah. When you do, that's interesting, that when you do this work, for people, I would imagine, do folks come for you and come to you and ask you to?
There are always people asking. Yes.
Are they,
we don't always do, but
sure.
there are always people asking.
What are the reasons, though? I mean, do people come? I'm wondering if people come with sort of just an interest in general knowledge, or do they come with a specific interest? I want to know about my grandfather, my great-grandfather, my great-grandmother.
Well, some of them come because they have been told as children that they were descended from someone like John Smith, who was an early explorer along our eastern shore, or Christopher Jones. I had a woman, a Spanish woman, believe it or not, who was sure that Christopher Jones was her great-great-great so many grandfathers. I don't know whether she ever found that out or not, but it was an interesting problem. And it's just, you always have to do it the same way, one step at a time until you get there. You can't start with the famous person and work forward.
So some people end up disappointed, I would imagine.
Well, yes, I expect they do, if they come with a preconceived idea. But I think that many of us simply want to know where we came from. Who were our people? Where did they come from? How do I fit into the whole flow of human history, human life on this planet? And I think that's one of the reasons why you have adoptees who are trying to find birth parents. They want to know, how they fit into the stream of life.
Okay.
And it's a very basic human feeling. And I think, we have a lot of people out in California who are genealogists, and very active area for family history out there. And I think that's because they, with all the rootlessness that we might hear about in terms of California, they still want to know where they are. How do they fit in?
Okay, very good. Nice to meet you, folks.
Nice to be here.
Very interesting. We will take, I would hope our viewers, and I know I will take a renewed interest in the census when I fill that out.
Good.
72 years from now, somebody will be digging that up.
You bet.
All right. Thanks for being with us, folks. Stay with us. We'll have more New England Sunday in just a moment.
The Boston Press Photographers Association has named Channel 3's Mike Fisher New England's Cameraman of the Year.
I don't just do this, I live this. I point the camera and it jumps, and I'm rolling, and I zoom in and it's in focus. And I got goosebumps when you have to watch it, when it's riveting. Oh, that's really good television. Denise and I make things happen. I think it's magic, what we come up with.
WFSB Channel 3 Eyewitness News. You get our best every day.